Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to issues 95 and also 96 of Build the Terminator.
The Terminator, week by week, built the T-800, the killing machine that defined a generation. Easy to build with high-quality metal components. You can control sound, lights, articulated limbs, and LED eyes, and explore the Terminator universe. Build the Terminator, issue 1, just $1.99.
So welcome back everyone, thanks for tuning in for some new episodes of Build the Terminator. It's been a little while since I've done this. Had a bit of an issue with issue 94, like I said, there were some problems there. I just want to give a shout out to Kevin and also Paul from the Facebook group, the Terminator group, who went out their way to give me a hand to try and fix the problem I had with the muscles. Had a problem with the cross thread and couldn't get it fixed on properly. I've done a temporary fix on it still. It's not completely how I want it to be, but because they're more aesthetic, they're not really supporting the weight of the lower leg when that comes. It shouldn't be a problem, but thanks guys and everyone else on the group who commented and gave me some tips and advice. Really appreciate it. Such a nice community. But anyway, moving on. So today's issues, what we're going to be working on. First, we're going to be assembling the knee joint. So there's a few parts there. And then on issue 96, we're actually finishing the left knee, just putting a cap on it, and then going to work on the first toe. So obviously we'll be working on parts of the feet then. These two don't know there's too much to do. However, as we know, sometimes it can take a bit longer than expected. So if it doesn't take me too long, I will combine all 4 episodes up to 98 in this one video. If not, I'll just split them up into two shorter videos, which I think you might prefer to watch anyway. But we'll see how we get on. And yeah, I'll show you the parts after this and we'll get started. Right guys and girls, so issue 95, the knee joint. So first of all, obviously you need the knee joint, and that's plastic. Then you've also got another section which is 95-2, another plastic knee joint. You do need 2 of the knee joint parts from the previous issues, so that's 92 and 94. That's these metal parts there. Then moving along, we've got 2 washers, but one of them is from issue 84. I'm sorry, not 84. From 86. There's one of those plastic washers there, and you've got another one with this issue to work with. Then these 2 plastic components here, A and B. A is this one, and that I believe is the left ankle parts. So we've got 2 parts there. Then in terms of the screws, so we've got a couple bits there. First of all, the 2 on their own, they are 95/9, so you've got 2 Allen screws, and they are 3 times 12mm. So obviously you're going to need your Allen key as well, which was supplied in issue 26. So I've got mine there. They've also got a little washer, a joint washer. It's a metal one there. And then in terms of the other screws, you've got a couple mixtures there. You've got the smaller ones, which are the 3 times 6mm PM screws, and the other ones are the 3 times 12mm PM screws. The last last accessory, sorry, this plastic part here, this is actually the tendon for the left leg. So that's plastic. So that's all those components there. Obviously we need our screwdrivers, and we also need some super glue and a cocktail stick for all these parts. Issue 96, so first of all we've got the foot joint pins, so these plastic parts. Then you've got your toe accessories there, which are metal, if you remember from the first foot on the other leg. Then we've got a kneecap here. That's just to finish off the knee, make it look all nice and neat. That's plastic. Then we've got 2 little grub screws, the 4 times 8mm ones there. You've got some joint washers as well. Plastic sleeves, obviously for the toes, and of course you need the foot. Otherwise we're not putting any toes anywhere. Apart from that, that's it. So let's get started. Right, so for steps 1 to 5, we're going to take obviously the knee joint here, and then what we want, you'll see on each side, so there, on both sides, there's a little section where these plastic washers are going to fix in there, and there's the corresponding holes for the pegs. So what you want to do is actually just put a little bit of glue on those little pegs, and then you will line it up on both sides to secure those into place on the inner part of that knee joint. So I'm just going to do the first one. You hear that click there. Just hold that for a second, and then I'll do the other one. So nice and simple to start. Get moving along nicely. Just fix the other one in now. Hold that in for a second or two. And that's how that should look for steps 1 to 5. So steps 6 to 7, what you want to do now, you're actually going to take the tendon, so the plastic tendon, and then you also want to take one of the 3x12mm screws, so that's obviously the longer ones. And then what you're going to do, you're actually going to screw that onto the knee joint, and you'll see this hole here, that's where you're going to screw it into place. And it has to be faced upright, by the way, so it must be upwards, this tendon. So I'm just going to secure those two together. Okay, I've just got that in place, just screwing it in now. Just keep that all locked in. Okay, so there will be movement still. You don't want it to be actually stiff. It does need to move at this point, so don't worry too much about it. As long as that's secured there, that's fine. So what you're going to do now, you're actually going to turn the joint assembly round. So from the bottom part here, you'll see there's 3 pinholes or screw holes. And what you're going to do, you're going to take component 9-5-2, so that's the plastic part from this issue, and that actually slots into underneath there. And to secure it, all you need to do is just to get some of your little PM screws. So they are the 3x6mm ones, and secure that into place. So I'm just going to line up the holes and grab the screws, and then I'll screw those home. I'll do the first one and then I'll skip it. You guys don't need to see that. It's quite self-explanatory. So that's the first one in place. Right, so for steps 10 to 14, what we're going to do, we're going to take that newly completed component, and what you're going to do, so if you see I've got the Terminator here, and obviously the leg that we're working on. So this tendon needs to go through this part here of the leg. So you're going to thread that through there on the knee joint and push it through. So I'm just going to do that now, being careful not to break anything. Push that through so you can see that's going through like that. Put that down and then align it up. So once you're happy with that, you're going to take the metal components for the kneecaps, and they're going to go on either side of the Terminator. So you'll know which one's which, because this one with the little spike on the edge, that goes on this side because there's the shape for it. So I'm just going to put that through first. Okay, now that's through. You'll see on the other side of the Terminator, I'm not going to spin him round because it's too much for faff, but there's a square shape, and this part here aligns with that, so the orientation is going to go in that direction for that. So I'm just going to push that through now, and that's going to lock those two together how we want them. Okay, so that's just clicked in. And then once you've done that, you're going to take one of your Allen keys, your Allen screws, sorry, and you're going to secure those two together. The 3x12mm Allen screw. And I'm going to make sure I've got the right Allen screw first, so I can actually do this. Because I've got a couple lying around, so yeah, that's the right one. So, and again, it's going to be from the side, the inner part of the leg, so in between the legs. You're going to be screwing it from that side, obviously. So I'm just going to get that in there, and then secure the knee joint. So the leg. Now, I just want to quickly talk about the error I made. So you won't be able to see it now, and hopefully the leg's not going to fall off when I stand him up, because the muscles are just purely aesthetic. They don't actually serve any function in terms of holding the weight. This knee joint does, and this longer tendon that I've just connected up through the joint. So that's where the strength's coming from, and I shouldn't have a problem moving forward, fingers crossed, because this is the biggest mistake I've made on the build. This is my first ever build, so I am still a beginner in comparison to some of the other guys on the group and other people who've done a lot more, but it should hold up. So that's obviously now connected, and we can move on to the final part for steps 16 and 18 for the foot. Okay, so step 16, taking the foot. So you want to work from underneath here, and you're going to take component A, and what you're going to do, you're going to actually push that through over the hole. So I'm just going to get that into place like so. So that's now locked onto there. Once you've done that, you're going to flip it round, taking your metal washer, align it over the screw hole, and take one of your smaller screws, which are the PM 3x6 again, and you're just going to screw that into place. Sometimes it can be a bit of a pain to align it up, so bear with me. Okay, so that's in place now. Just going to screw that in to connect those two parts. That's all connected now. And for the final part, you're going to take component B, and all you're going to do is just going to push that over that hole. So you will hear clicking sound once it's connected. So I'm just going to make sure that's in line how I want it. And there you go. So I don't think you heard the click, but that is nice and secure, and that is that issue complete. Okay, so steps 1 to 4, working on the toes. On each of these components there are actually numbers. So this one says 5 and the other two parts of the toe say 7. What you must do is make sure when you're working with them, you work with them facing down so you can't actually see them, because otherwise it's going to be a problem apparently. And I do remember them speaking about that when we did the first foot before. So you're going to take 964 first, that's the part that has nothing in the middle, and you're going to align that at the end. So 965 at the end of that. So I'm just checking the orientation, make sure the number's not facing, and that goes through like that. Once you've got that threaded through, you're going to take one of your grubs, I believe, yep, and then you're going to take the Allen key and you're going to secure that to it. So just get that in line. And then with the other part of the toe, you can do exactly the same from the top. So again, making sure that the number is facing down. Also, it needs to be facing up in that manner like that. So we don't want it facing the opposite way. We want it facing outwards, so towards the other toe. And again, remember what I said, make sure the numbers are not showing. Okay, so once you've got that Allen key through and you've put the component 965 through the other part there, you can take a plastic tube, you're going to put it through the bottom of 965, and then you're going to take a pin, plastic pin, to push through to connect those parts together. So 965 and 966 will be connected. Just going to push that through first. Always very careful with these plastic parts because they're crap, to be honest. Okay, so that's in place now. So I'm just going to take one of the plastic pins and I'm going to push that through from the top to secure those two together, because the plastic tube has been put through there, so I should be able to secure those two now. So I'm just going to do that very carefully, because these tend to be a bit of a pain. This is just ready to connect them and also just to seal it nicely, so that's how it's looking at the moment. So for the final part, you're going to take component 96.7, and that's the toe. That's going to go on the end of the toes, so it's the toe point. And what you do is, again, you're going to line that up like so. You need another plastic tube and another pin to go through. I've got that plastic tube through. Just going to put the pin through now on the top to secure these final parts, and that's the first toe done. So that's how it's looking from the top and the bottom. Right, so these final parts here, I've had to flip the Terminator over, very annoyingly, because every time I do, bits fall off. Getting a bit annoyed with it now, to be honest, in some ways, because it's so heavy, like just parts fall off, so I'm going to have to go back and attach different parts. And what you'll see, so what I'm going to put the kneecap on the leg, and I actually have lost the other one from the movement, so I'm going to pop him on as well. So what you're going to do, I'm going to show you on the magazine, because you can't really see here too well, and I don't want to stand him up. So you'll see there's two pinholes there. That's where you're going to attach the plastic components. So I'm just going to glue those together now, and then we'll be able to do that part. So all you need to do is just align these pinholes there with those ones on this plastic cap here. So I'm just going to apply some glue so we make sure it sticks together, and I'm also going to put a little bit of glue over the cap as well, because like I said, for the right leg, the kneecap came off during the movement of moving the Terminator around a couple of issues ago, so I'm going to fix him on as well, so I make sure hopefully they don't fall off again. This is nice and simple, very easy to do. So make sure that's all aligned. So that's like that. And then these two pins here on the end, they're going to go on the end of the knee there. So what I didn't do last time, I didn't put any glue on because it didn't recommend it, but I'm going to this time because I don't want this one to fall off, and obviously I want the other one to go back on again. So just to give it a bit more, you know, security there, I'm going to apply some glue as a backup. Just hold that in for a second, and that's that issue complete. So as expected, those two took a little bit longer than anticipated. It's just such a fiddly thing, to be honest, this build, but I'm still enjoying it nonetheless. That's the toe done. Obviously I told you it's the first one done, and obviously now I've connected the knee joint and the kneecap accessories to the left leg, so that's all done. So the next issues we're going to work on is more of the toes and more of the foot details, and also beginning the lower leg. So obviously the shin and the calf and whatnot leading onto the foot. So hope you liked today's video, guys. If you did, as always, please remember to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you soon.